you're live. Yes. UncutXtra started live video. Okay. So how are you going to have it? How are you going to have it?
It's supposed to be because they were supposed to do it. It's supposed to be.
He is supposed to request.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll add him.
People are already home. They're joining.
Hi guys. Good morning, everybody. So good to have you guys here. Hope you all are doing good though. In this season of cash recession. I hope you guys are fine. So yeah, this is like we're supposed to be like a short video for okay, so the catch is we have like an episode coming out soon, and so we decided to make like a short series before the day that we'll be launching, just to educate you guys more and just keep you staying on our page rather. And we decided that what, we're bringing experts also that will be helping business-minded people that are willing to grow their business, entrepreneurs in different fields also will be bringing in experts that will be telling them what to do, things that they should not do, so that it would help them grow in different areas. So yeah, that's why we're here today. We are expecting someone really amazing. He's an expert. Oh my god. How excited are you, Sharon?
I'm actually very excited. If you know Emeka Lobis, it's someone who's been doing pretty well in the entrepreneurial industry. And I know we are not just the only one, not just she and I. Like, we are so curious. Everybody wants to get, a piece of Emeka Lobis' experience, his wisdom.
Definitely.
Yes. Yeah. So just sit tight. He'll be joining us shortly.
Yeah.
Have you reached out?
Yes. So
but then also, feel free to engage. You can drop your questions, whatever questions you have, comments, suggestions. Yes.
And we'll definitely, he will also answer them. I mean, that's why he's an expert also. So if you have anything bothering you, please kindly drop your comments below. But before we get to that, I mean, we're waiting for him, right? Let's just be asking ourselves questions. So I'm just thinking, do you have like a business that you want?
Business what?
Do you have like a business that you want?
More like a freelance.
Because I'm thinking, I know that most shops that I go to now or supermarkets, they don't use transfer or like POS and the rest. But like most of them are not still comfortable with like the whole transfer thing. So because we have scammers everywhere. So I'm just asking, like, how do you think they can manage stuff like that? Because I mean, we need transfer. You need people to do transfer, right? Exactly. But like, when you cannot trust these people, you cannot trust people that say, oh, I've done transfer. People can do transfer. People can do transfer, but how would I put it? They can say, oh, we transferred, but they will not transfer because we're in Nigeria.
Honestly, okay. So this reminds me of an experience I had. Earlier this week.
Yeah.
So after so much trekking, like if you're in Lagos, you can probably relate. Like so much trekking, and then some of these guys, it's not like they really don't want to take transfer. Some of them would love to take transfer, but the previous bad experiences they have, so it's making them shy away from the whole transfer thing.
Yeah.
So I ordered a bike. So the guy picked me up. I was like, bro, Safa, I don't get cash flow. Like, can you help?
Yeah.
Can you take transfer? I was surprised because I actually stopped like let's say 20, and he was the only person who was willing to take transfer. So I was shocked.
Yeah.
So he picked us up and was like, okay, please do your transfer now. Why? Before he commences the journey and all that. And then he started telling us a story of how someone collected money from him prior to that day, like a day before.
Yeah.
And the person did the transfer, collected card transfer, and he hasn't gotten anything. Like, it's so crazy. So for people like him who have intentions of actually helping,
they
are all Nigerians like us.
And people are still issue for us because the innocent ones now will now be having issues.
Yeah, they'll not be the ones suffering.
Because I remember like trying to buy stuff. I think there was a one that I went to buy like a gown or something. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to do transfer. She's like, no, I don't want transfer. And I'm like, no, do just hit me now. She's like, no, I don't want transfer. You know what? She said funny thing is that they'll tell you, don't worry, I just transferred it to enter, and then don't give you their number, right? And then you try calling those people, and they'll be saying switched off. You get?
Yeah.
So it's just like it's crazy, and we just hope that things get better. But like, I think it's trust.
Yes, it's joining us. I'm sure.
Okay.
Hope you guys can hear us. You can hear us clearly. Feel free.
I'm sorry, I hope you don't mind. We are trying to adjust so that you can hear us like clearly. Yeah, I think it's
better.
Yes.
Yes. ending CEO, you already have plans with your person.
Yeah.
I mean, Nigeria right now, if you're only banking on one source of income, man, I don't know.
I don't know
How you're coping, how you then coping, but it's a lot. Yeah. So anybody can actually join in. So this is that time where you send a link, invite people, invite friends and family, invite even your parents. You know you're actually running business already, and then you're complaining.
Very important, guys. Please do reach out to friends and family and let them join this life. Because you definitely be learning a lot too. So please kindly do the needful. I'm trying to do my thing. Let me try to.
Yes. I'll give us a link.
Oh, I think open. So just like waiting for.
Yeah, so I'm sorry, he's doing it shortly. Just give us a few minutes, please. Excuse me, guys.
So sorry guys for the delay. We'll be joining soon. So we have like an expert who will be taking us on a short session, right? He'll be teaching us what we need to know, as business, minded people, as business owners rather. So yeah, this is like an entrepreneurship series where we get to, bring in experts from different fields to teach you things that you should know. And this is also because we have like an edition coming soon. And it's definitely one that you do not want to miss. But before then, before we publish that, we'll be dropping videos like this. We'll be going live with experts, and definitely it would be very educating. So yeah, we're sorry for the delay, but we'll be here soon.
Yeah.
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Hi, I've been waiting for you guys.
Hi, but sorry, we're trying to accept.
Okay.
We're having network issues at the beginning, but we're totally sorry for it. We're really sorry. But can you hear us?
Okay.
Clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly now.
Okay. Thank you so much. Nice to have you here, sir.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here with you guys. Don't mind my face. My face is rough. I'm angry.
Don't worry, it's fine.
It's all good, sir.
So
I'm angry with the things that are happening in the nation.
What is it?
Yeah. I said I'm angry with what is happening in the nation. So my face is like I'm on a strike.
Trust me, we are all angry.
The current breakfast is very wrong.
We are all angry. But I mean, good day. Have Saturday, right? To do the needful.
Yeah,
so,
right.
hope
Okay,
for the
so quickly, sir, I'm Sharon. Sharon Abuke. I've been communicating with you for a while. And this is one of our media personnel.
Hi, good morning.
Choma Eze. So it's really nice to have you here to talk about how business owners can actually keep their business thriving, even with the current recession and whatever drama is currently going on in Nigeria. Yes, and I'm also sure our fans, your fans as well, they're actually excited to hear what you have to say, to hear all the wisdom you have to share with everyone. So can you briefly introduce yourself, please?
Okay, so my name is Emeka Nobis. I like to call myself first and foremost that I'm a writer. I write books. If you look around my office now, I've been writing. I'm writing 5 books actually this year. So I've been writing a manuscript even before we got on this call. And then I am maybe I have to wear my tag. I'm the CEO of Switchpath Consulting.
Okay.
Yeah. So my company is a consulting firm, and we are basically on business education. So we teach things that have to do with culture and business, people, processes, environment, and perception. So that's what we do basically. So that's it in a nutshell for me. I'm married, I have 3 kids, and I live in the city of Port Harcourt. So that's what it is. So every day that I wake up, basically what I do is I go on social media and I share my thoughts and ideas. I share my strategies. Sometimes the kind of things I share can make certain individuals angry, but that's the beauty of content. Words have to hit at you sometimes to make you angry, to make you excited, to make you happy. So that's what it is about me. So as I'm sharing the things I'm sharing, if you're angry, fine, you start to rethink. If you're happy, good. Excites you and inspires you to do better. If you want to come and thank God you can't come and beat me in my house. So that's what it is. All right. So basically that's me in a nutshell. I don't know if there's something specific you want me to talk about. I'm a graduate. I studied mechanical engineering, and I worked in an oil servicing company for 10 years before I resigned to start mine. And I think that's about me. And maybe if you're looking for something else, maybe you can ask me.
Okay. So
right.
You mentioned that you have 3 children. That's so wonderful. And you said
yes.
you have a beautiful wife. We also know that she's a writer also, and she's a professional chef. But we know that family largely influences everything that we do, like a major part of our life. Do you think that? We know that entrepreneurship rather has influences a lot of parts of us. How do you think this has influenced your family, your life in general? Do you think this affected you in any way? I mean, we had the part where you were single, but you were still an entrepreneur, regardless of the fact that you're working in an engineering company, right? And then now that you're out of that space and you have a lot of things that you are doing, how do you think this has affected you as a married man that has children, beautiful children? Okay, so
the thing about this is that it has to come with tolerance and patience and sacrifices. When people say that you have to put your life on a balance, work-life balance, I don't see it as a balance. I see it as juggling. So at some point, there are certain things you will do that this other one will be lower. There are certain things that you'll be doing some other time that the one that is lower is above. Say, for example, there are sometimes you can be working on a project and you may not have time for sex. That's the truth. Nothing like sex is happening in your head. There are sometimes I stay 2 weeks. I'm not even thinking that. Even if I be naked on the road, I don't even care. If enter the house, because my mind is fixated on something. Okay, so sometimes I get back home late and my kids have gone to bed. So it's all about sacrifice. Then there's some Saturdays also. I don't have any speaking engagements. I stay with them. I play with them. I put on the generator if there's no power, and then we watch TV together. I watch football matches with my son. So it's all about how you're juggling, right? So sometimes there are things that will have to take higher priority than other ones. And then there are some other times that things will take higher priority than other ones, even including church. For those of us who go to church, there are sometimes, I remember when I was working in the oil servicing company, there were times that we worked on Sundays. And that was where I learned from, because at that time, people used to feel guilty for not going to church, but being at work in the office, on site at the time. Then I remember one particular Italian man. The guy doesn't go to church. He doesn't even talk about God. But one day, this guy opened his mouth and said that work is spiritual, work is divine. I don't know whether I don't know whether it was God that spoke through the guy. The guy just said work is spiritual, And then I had a conversation with the guy, and the next thing the guy said to me was that you are at work here on Sunday. You're going to earn salary. And I can imagine it. When you earn salary, you're going to give your mom, you're going to give your dad, you're going to give your wife, you're going to give your kids. It means that you're now a blessing to these individuals by virtue of the work that you are doing even on a Sunday. And I began to think about, what about doctors, medical doctors? Imagine if you have an issue right now that demands immediate medical attention on a Sunday morning, and you rush to the hospital, and they tell you, oh, sorry, all our doctors have gone to church. They have to go and worship God. Please wait, and you are bleeding. They say, sorry, the bleeding will continue until the doctor is back from church. How exactly will you feel? How exactly will you think like? I mean, so when the guy made that statement and said, work is spiritual, that day I began to take my work as something spiritual. So even if I'm not in church and I'm doing something at work, means that there's something about divinity that my work is all about that can be of great influence or touch other people's lives. So I don't believe in the balance thing. I believe in the fact that sometimes you are juggling balls, you know, so you're juggling this one, you're juggling. The essence is not to make any ball fall. So as you're juggling, the balls must not fall. Even if this one is going high and this one is going lower, they mustn't fall. So you keep juggling it, you know, just keep juggling it and entertaining whoever you're entertaining or your life or whatever it is. So entrepreneurship has a way of affecting you. Anybody who says it doesn't affect him or affect her, I think the person is not really, I don't know, living the truth, basically, because sometimes it's tasking, you're tasking your brain. Like 2 days, 3 days ago, I was in a dark place. I came to work, my staff couldn't come to work because they couldn't get cash, you know, and I was just in the dark. I was thinking about the nation. I was just here all by myself, and I was crying because monies are stopped. People they don't want to pay me. The ones that you know when somebody comes to you and tells you, oh man, I like what you're doing, let's work together. You give the person a bill. The person says, oh, fantastic, it's nice. I mean, running into millions, and the person says, I want to pay, and then the person is now dragging his feet. I mean, you have 2 million hanging here, you have 3 million hanging here, you have 1 million hanging here, and they're not bringing out the money because everybody's thinking maybe Nigeria will divide after the election, and let me keep the money to myself. I mean, it's painful because the money is not flowing the way we're expecting it to be. So, when these things happen, I was just in that dark place, and I just cried and let myself free. So many individuals are feeling the brunt because now they are thinking, how am I going to survive? How is this company going to survive? How am I going to pay members of staff, even with the fortunes that are not coming in? You know, those kind of things just go. So anybody who says that he's in entrepreneurship and these things are not affecting him or affecting her, trust me, even some of us who are men, it affects our libido, but people don't know. It's the truth. That a raw guy will tell you the way it is. It affects the libido. It's the truth, though. There are some days like this, man, nothing that happens. You just feel like you're not just human, you're just wounded. You're just there, no feelings, indifferent, you know. There's some other days you just feel excited and all that. So it's a juggling thing. Some days I'm with my kids. Sometimes I even bring them to the office on some occasions. I hang out with them. And then those times tend to make up for the times that I'm not there, right? So the times that I'm with them, I'm present. Times I'm with my wife, I'm present, right? So kind of mix up for the other times that I'm not there. So that's what it is, you know. That's what it is for me, basically.
Okay, yeah. So okay, you just said something about how this whole whatever is going on right now, the whole saga actually affects a man's libido, yeah. And it actually takes me back to
That's the part she picked too.
yes, because it reminded me of something. I remember there was one of your posts I saw recently on Facebook where you made mention of how this whole thing is getting to you personally. There are times you actually opened up your laptop to write or do something, and you just weren't feeling motivated. Like the motivation was not there. Like you were experiencing creative block. So personally, I'd like to know how you were able to overcome that. Because I'm sure there are other persons who actually experience the same thing right now. So how were you able to come out of that place?
So I need to make you understand that some people are different, all right? What I may do to overcome mine may not be the same thing some other individual, but I will share basically, you know. So sometimes when I get into that place where I feel like I'm hitting a block and inspiration is not flowing, I'm not feeling myself, it looks like as if, I mean, there's a dark blanket over me. First thing that I do sometimes is not to fight it, because the more I fight it, the darker emotions envelop my being. So when it comes, I say, okay, fine, it has come. I want to appreciate the fact that this thing has come. It helps me to shield darker emotions of resentment, of anger, of you know those dark emotions that tend to overwhelm me. And then you just appreciate it. Just allow yourself be. Don't force it. Me, I don't force it. So when it's not coming, I won't do anything. I will just have to be there, you know. And employees also feel the same thing. Basically, employees also feel the same thing. There are some days that they're just in that dark place. They can't function. Their head is just blank. You get what I mean? So I usually advise, don't leave the office. Just be there. Maybe you can find something else that can excite you. Maybe check out something that is educational. Maybe check out something that is, or you just basically be doing the thing gently until maybe lunchtime, and then you can go out to go and maybe watch a skit or something. So for me, I don't really fight it. I just allow it to envelop my being, and I appreciate the fact that it's happening. And then when I do that appreciation phase, sometimes it lasts for a long time, sometimes it lasts for a short time, and then I want to start to do something else. It could be maybe call a friend. There was a day I was in that mood. What I did was to call a friend of mine. She's a female, and she's the type that when she's with you, you don't need to say anything. She just says everything. You know, there's some individuals who are like that. They're just there talking. You don't need to even say anything back. So I just called her to come to the office, and she came, and she was just keeping me company and just kept talking, not saying things that will make you feel despondent, but things that I feel with hope and inspiration. She just. Then some other times it's about maybe I'll just leave what I'm doing and then maybe watch skits and laugh about, laugh when I'm watching the skits. Or I tend to see a movie, all right? So I can put on my Netflix and see a movie. Or I can take a walk, all right? So I can go out somewhere, just take a walk. As I'm moving along the road, I'm seeing things happening around me that can inspire me, excite me to come back into my mood again. So everybody there's some individuals who go to drink. I don't support that. There's some individuals who go to take, maybe who smoke. I don't support that. But these are just the things that I do. So while walking may be my solution, walking may not be the solution for someone else. So I've had individuals that I've spoken to, some of them say that they iron. I mean, I'm not a fan of ironing, but some individuals say that when it happens, they start ironing. Like some individuals say when they start happening, they start cooking. You get what I mean? They start cooking. And in the midst of that cooking, they get excited, they get their themselves back, and then they launch back again. So, as I'm saying, I've never cooked before to overcome my own darkness. I've never ironed before, so I'm sharing with you the kind of things that I do, which I know that other individuals also have the kind of things that they do that helps them to. Some individuals, like some of them, also write. There are some of my friends that I know. They write when they are in that dark mood. Making referencing the book that I read, Nelson Mandela, when he was in jail. So Nelson Mandela, while he was in jail, was in those dark moods. He used to write in those. But me, I can't write when I'm in a dark mood. But some individuals, they write when they're in a dark mood. So everybody, we're all different individuals, and it's just to understand what happens. Some individuals, like me now, I get inspiration when I'm taking my bath. So when I'm working on an idea, I'm working on a strategy in my head. Whenever I'm about to go into the shower, right? I just say to myself, I'm going to the shower. This is shower time. Let the ideas flow. So as I'm just there taking my bath, 90% of the time, I've gotten some form of clarity from, by just taking my bath. And it's not by the one that I scoop. It has never happened to me when I'm scooping. It only happens when that water from the shower is just running over my head and all that. You get what I mean? And then most times when I'm also in the toilet in the morning, it's like a ritual to me. I walk into the toilet and I'm there, seated down, and then the ideas come. Even though now I'm watching some clips by a Proco doctor, talking about pile and all that, and I'm scared. You know what I mean? So, I tend not to. I tend not to overseat again on the toilet seat, And then the third one is when I'm in church. So when I'm in church and pastor may be saying something else and I'm hearing something else. So he may be preaching on holiness. I'm hearing how holiness can help in marketing. He's preaching on, before I used to feel guilty about it. I'm like, why can't my head settle? Why is it that my head is going astray when they're teaching the gospel? But then I now realize that there's nothing I can do about it. That this is just who I am. Maybe that's how God is speaking to me to better my life. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens sometimes. So when it's happening, I just bring out my pen and paper and I just write, basically. So this is it for me, personally. I don't know about any other individual, but this is what works for me, yeah.
Okay, so we'd love to know what's your favorite aspect of being an entrepreneur? funny thing is, you actually have a book titled "Your Book Will Sell," and I feel like for you to title a book like that, it means that you've mastered the act of selling, right? So, what's your favorite part of being an entrepreneur?
And for me, the favorite parts are when when I'm on the ideation mode, right? So when the idea comes, and then when I'm executing those parts, in between those processes are some of the processes of, for example, some of the processes that are in between the ideation, because when the idea comes, you're supposed to work on it to be able to get to the results. Some of those processes that happen between the ideation and the execution part are not necessarily exciting sometimes. You get, they're not necessarily exciting sometimes. So, but you've got to do what you have to do to be able to execute the idea in your head. So for me, the two most interesting times for me is when an idea comes into my head. It's all exciting, and then when I start executing that idea and seeing the results. So that's it basically for me. For the book you talked about, why it came about was what I saw in the industry, right? So people rap, we go to seminars, everybody's talking back then, everybody's talking about writing. But then you're reading a book, but then you're not able to sell. You're not selling the way you ought to sell. Do you get? Most of the places we go, always writing. The problem is not even writing a book. The problem, the greatest challenge there is the marketing of the book to get people to buy the book. That's the key thing. So every guys will write. They'll publish the book. The book will stay. It happened to me too. We stay, and gather dust either in their houses or in their garages. But people don't teach about how to market the books. So I said to myself, I think this is what I'll have to start doing, because when I experienced my first failure, so to say, was in 2010. When I wrote my book, my first book, I sold only 200 copies out of 1,000, and 800 were left. I couldn't sell. I mean, I had exhausted I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know jack about marketing. So I started giving away the books, just give away books. I go to places, I just be dashing the books away like that. But after a while, after that period, I was like, man, this is bullshit, man. There has to be something to be done, because I knew I was going to write books in the future. So I had to spend 6 years between 2011 and 2017 on studying marketing, studying the big guys. What were they doing? What do they do? How do they do? I was reading books on marketing, specifically on book marketing. And then by 2017, I came back again. And ever since then, I've done 15 books ever since then. So it's been an amazing journey, right? And so that's my major forte. And my key strength lies in using content marketing to be able to market books, basically. So that's where my strength really lies. So that's it. Just wanted to give you a brief rundown of why I wrote the book.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so you live in Port Harcourt, and I just want to ask, do you think location influences, a business? As a business person.
Sorry?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
So you live in Port Harcourt, right?
Yeah.
We know you do. So do you think location influences businesses? Like, for example, as an entrepreneur, do you think it has like a major role to play in your business in general?
Yeah, it can. It can. The location where your business is can, in a certain ways, affect. For example, if you are doing pork in a Muslim-dominated area, you can't bring it out to sell in the public now. You can't, no matter how you try to fake it, or you want to release prophecies or whatever it is that you can't bring it out to sell like that, because you'll be subjecting yourself to danger, so to say, because Islam forbids pork, right? I have seen some certain businesses fail, because physical businesses fail because of their location. Sorry about that. Nepal has done their. Can you see me well?
Yes, I can.
Okay, it's back. Okay, sorry, Nepal did their thing. So I've seen some businesses, by virtue of their location, they struggle and eventually they fail. So I know that, let me give you a particular example. Two things can actually happen when it has to do with location. I give you an example with a friend of mine. So here in the city of Port Harcourt, there are places where they sell motor spare parts. I think you guys must have heard about Ikoku and all that. And so when you want to buy spare parts, you always think about going to Ikoku to go and buy it. But the guy said, man, why must people go all the way to Ikoku from all the other parts of Port Harcourt? Why can't I open something somewhere where people don't need to travel all the way to Ikoku to go and get spare parts? And so he opened somewhere, not around that area, somewhere away, and then he began to struggle. So he called me in, and I told him, guy, the key thing you need to understand is that people in Port Harcourt have already bought into the idea that if you need spare parts, you have to go to Ikoku. What will happen for you now to begin to get the patronage you need is to do lots and lots of education, lots and lots of visibility, so that people will start seeing, even it will include you going to houses that are around. So he began to do that. He began to go to houses of people that are around, spoke to them, told them about his shop and all that. And gradually, it was a snail-paced movement. Gradually. Now the guy is happy. He's even thinking of opening somewhere else in the city of Port Harcourt, because people have started, patronizing his business. And the next thing is, you can't force it sometimes. I mean, look at me now, my village now. I'll now go to my village and I want to go and open a certain car. Let me say I go to my village now and I go and open a luxury business, selling diamond, selling, how they want to buy? No matter what I preach, they can't buy it. Even they will leave night self, they'll come and steal that diamond and the gold. And if I'm supposed to have that business in the village, means that I will have higher levels of security. I mean, I will now be paying security. And then how will people now live where they are in town and travel all the distance to come to my village to come? So sometimes, location has a way of, even me here that in Port Harcourt, from time to time I go to Lagos. Why? Because there's a certain kind of thinking the people over there have. So when I go there, I'm mingling with them, I'm expanding the possibilities of my thinking, and then I come back again to the point. Why I'm here is because my business is basically online. So I can do whatever I want. This morning I've connected to somebody. I'm having conversations with people from other. This year I decided I was going to start having collaborations with people from other African countries, not Europe, not America yet, but those who are in Africa, who speak English in Africa. So I've had conversations with two people in Zambia. Before getting on this live stream, I had another conversation with someone in Kenya, and I'm hosting the three of them next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, to have that collaboration with them. So my business is online. I can actually go online and do what I want to do. People can buy from me, but it doesn't take away the fact that certain locations can be a big problem to your business. So you've got to study. If you want to start your business, you have to do. That's why they do feasibility studies. All right. Will this still survive here? Will people be able to patronize this business if it's here? Right. And then if your feasibility study says this is good, this is great, by all means, go ahead. Like, for example, there's a guy bringing a certain kind of business into Port Harcourt where barbing salons, when you go to that particular barbing salon, you have scantily dressed girls dancing, lap dance and all that. And they're bringing it to the GRA part of Port Harcourt. And I told him, guy, this is going to make sense, man. It's going to blow. Because in GRA part of Port Harcourt is where the big boys are living. So imagine going to that to go and barb your hair there, and girls are giving you lap dance and everything. I even gave him ideas. Me, I'm a marketing guy. I gave him more ideas. Somebody will say I'm promoting evil, but me, it's just marketing that I was doing. I just gave him marketing ideas on how they're going to sell this thing. So if you take that kind of thing down, go to the village, you want to go and be doing lap dance. How many people won't pay you for that? I mean, so location has a way of also affecting business setups. That's the truth. And I see this in Lagos from time to time. Like, haven't you noticed that guys who do trainings, the big boys who do trainings in Lagos, they're either doing VI or Lekki or, all those nice VGC and all that. Have you ever seen any one of them do Okokomaiko before? Talk Okokomaiko. Or check it now, Mushi. Oh, you won't see them. Go and check. Go and check the big boys who are making other plenty money in Lagos. It doesn't mean that speaking engagements or conferences are now holding in other parts of Lagos. Go and check all those big boys. Today, go and check them. The Nia Desonians, the Ladro Toys. Where do they do their events? Is VGC or Lekki or VI? check out the names, the way the thing is. So when I went to Lagos and I wanted to force it, my idea, it did not work. It didn't work. You get. So some people will tell you that I cannot come. I remember a particular woman, she called me when I was in Lagos. I said, oh, I've heard about you. I heard about you. You're doing great. My friends told me about you. I want to come for your training. Meanwhile, where's your training holding? And I told her, Jibo, Jibo even makes sense, close to Yaba self. And I saw the woman caught. She got off phone for my ear because she's on the island, you know. So that should just show you that location most times also have a way of affecting your business.
So it makes sense. Okay, so what would you think? What would you say are three skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
The what?
What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
My dear, I try not to I try not to put the skills in terms of which one is topmost. More as you are building your business, you're learning along the way. There are skills you keep learning, skills of patience, of knowing who is even telling the truth. I mean, there's sometimes you don't have to be a prophet. As somebody speaking to you, you have to allow the Spirit of God inside of you to believe in the individual and knowing when they're even lying to you. You have a deciphering spirit. You get what I mean? There are skills. There are certain times you need to improve on your public speaking skills. You need to improve on your relational skills because you have to relate with a lot of individuals. You have to relate. You have to improve on your marketing skills, your selling skills. So I don't want to rank them in order of priority because I think I'll be doing a lot of disservice to such things. But it's just to understand that as you are building your business, all right, at every level, you need to start. For example, now I'm building a real estate company together with my brother. Yesterday we were having conversations. All through my life so far in doing business, I've not really gone to high-ranking government officials to go and be speaking to them. I hardly do it, except when they invite me to come and do training, but I hardly go to their offices. But because of this real estate we are building, there's a way we want to build our real estate in our town, where our company is. We now have to. I am not a normal tie guy. I don't really wear tie. But now I have to start forcing myself to learn how to wear tie and wear suit and wear shoes. I'm not, I mean, look at me. Look at what I'm wearing. I like to wear these kind of things and feel free with myself. Do you get? But now because of we are building these things, we have to now learn. So it's a new skill how to speak. Because when we go there, we now have to learn how to speak to these individuals in the language that they will understand. It's not the language of the commoners, it's now the language of the palace. Do you get what I mean? So at every level that you're building, you're learning new skills, you're adding to yourself, you're reinforcing the values that you've already done before. So I don't want to, it would be a disservice if I try to place them according to that.
Sure. And that makes so much sense. So we know that a lot of things are happening right now in Nigeria, right? Especially with the cash issue on ground. And I know that the people feeling in the mood is like entrepreneurs because we've heard them complain, businesses are shutting down. And I feel like the major challenge is people that have complained about people scamming them, like those that would say, I've done transfer and they didn't do any transfer, or those that will pay with POS but the money doesn't go on. Also, what do you think business owners can do at this point to ensure that they are not being scammed?
The raw truth that we have to appreciate is the fact that businesses will fail. That's the truth. It's absolute truth. We just have to be at peace with the fact that certain businesses will fail. Just like the same thing that happened during the COVID. All right. So no matter how sometimes you put in all the great things, all the great stuff, some businesses will likely fail. So that's just the truth about that. The thing about it is, with the things that are happening, see how you can, what can you do to override? What can you do to override? I'll give you a particular example. When we had the issue of, there was a time we had the issue of not being able to pay with our Nigerian cards, all right, which eventually has happened now. And back then, we didn't have the opportunity to even get dollar cards. What did we do? Most of those who are on the online space, we came together and we began to think what could be a solution that some of us came up with was to have a relationship with some of our friends who are outside of Nigeria, who still have a bank account here in Nigeria. So we paid their accounts. They used their cards over there to pay for our subscriptions. So that was how some of us were surviving back in the day. Until now, they now have dollar cards. So now we have dollar cards that we're using. Now, like, no Nigerian Naira card is paying on, So now all of us have been forced to go and get virtual dollar cards or physical. I have a physical dollar card now from GT Bank. Okay, so we just have to find ways of riding. For example, day before yesterday, on Saturday, sorry, I gave my wife money to go to buy food stuff. I gave her 35K to go and buy food stuff. She got to the market and said to me that that they were asking her for 5,000 naira to give her 20K. I'm like, how much can remain now? That means 15K. That means I have to send you extra 5,000, to be able to, even that extra 5,000 I'm giving you now. When they now hear that you have 30, 40K now, they now say, give us 10K to collect 30K. Does it make sense? So I said to her, no, just go to the supermarket that is around us. Go and buy food stuff that are inside of the supermarket. If you are unable to cook soup, let us be managing rice and beans and spaghetti and whichever until this whole thing. So that's one way also to be able to override certain things. So I now saw a woman online that was saying that she could help people shop. Despite the cash crunch and everything that's happening, I was asking myself, these people that bring tomatoes from Lagos, from the north, how are they doing their transactions? It means that they are doing transfers, because basically, I don't think that they are doing cash transactions. They are doing transfers, isn't it? So the woman now says she could buy stuff, and I gave her money. And then she went to buy for us rice, beans, soup materials, and all that, and brought to my office. I didn't go to the market, and I took everything home. So there are always ways to override. For example, if you are used to doing both, you can start doing public transport. Carry that your ego and put somewhere else. At least for the time being, when things are better off, right? If you are doing both, and you're spending so much money, money is leaving your account. You can start to do what's it called? Public transport. Right here in our office, one of the ways that we are dealing, because of the cost of diesel is high. There are sometimes you shut down the office at the time that is not the usual time, because you have to conserve, right? You have to conserve things. So now on Saturdays, usually in our office here, we close like 4 p.m. Now we close at 2 p.m. They shut down the generator at 2 p.m., 3 p.m. because we need to understand the times and to be able to conserve, all right, and adjust. So it has to do with a lot of adjustments. One of my friends, a friend of mine that came here yesterday, one of the ways that she wants to keep her business afloat is to rent off her offices, the ones that she's not even using on a normal time, on a normal day-to-day basis. She has cleared them, and she wants to put individuals to come and start using the offices so that she can have extra cash, right? So it's all of us to understand where we can be making adjustments here and there to be able to, because I know that it's for a while. This thing is going to last for a while. And then, do you even understand that having relationships, relational skill is one way to even, override what is happening in the nation. A friend of mine, when I called her on Saturday, she said she was in the market. I'm like, okay. After we got chatting, she said to me that she has a relationship with all her buyers, all her sellers in the market. I'm like, okay, tell me about it. That she went to all her sellers and none of them queried her transfer to them. Some of the transfers didn't go, but they allowed her to go. And then, I began to think about it. That's true. So imagine that you have your regular people now in the market. How many times you go to the market there and sit down with them and just, flow with them and ask them how your people day now? Because I believe that's what the girl does. So when she goes there, maybe she sits down with them in the marketplace there. Got the nap gist. After gisting, she will buy. And then she'll be, they exchange numbers and all that. So now the people are experiencing pain. She's not even experiencing pain. She says to me that she goes there. Even sometimes she will call them on phone. There's one I know. She call people on the, her sellers in the market on phone. I want this, I want this, I want. It's just a friend of mine. I want this meat, I want this one. And by the time she gets there, they've already packaged everything and kept. She does the transfer and then she goes on with the material. So it's all about understanding how, how your business is being hit, how your business is being affected, and seeing how you can override from, and we'll just keep adjusting and adjusting and adjusting until things rather come to normal. So that's what it is, basically.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I was reading through, and obviously you mentioned it earlier, but you worked with an engineering company for a while, for 10 years before you left. And I know for sure that it wasn't so easy. You left for a legit reason, right? You had like...
Yeah. I can't hear you.
Are you here?
Yes, yes.
So sorry about that. Okay, so like I was saying, you mentioned earlier about you working with an engineering company, and I know you worked for 10 years, right? And I think it's very interesting because I know for sure that the reason why, or I read about it, right? You left because you needed to help people utilize their full potential, right? And that was why you left. And after that, you became a writer, a consultant, like you did a coach, and just a whole lot, right? And I know for sure that there are lots of people also who want to leave a certain space or place, but because they are scared, they don't just know how to do it. And so they are waiting there, just waiting for something to happen, something extraordinary to happen before they leave that space. How was it like for you at that point, leaving where you were for 10 years? And what advice would you give to people that want to leave a certain spot but are scared to do so?
Okay, so for me, I don't know if any other individual experienced it. I usually don't like to use my own personal experience to form a doctrine, so to say. But me, there was fear. I was really, really afraid. I mustn't lie. I was very afraid. This thing they say, uncertainties out there. You're thinking by the time you leave, because I worked at an oil servicing company that salaries were paid promptly. Every last Friday of the month, whether there is strike, whether there is anything happening in the nation, nobody cared about that. The salary will come in before 12 noon every last Friday of the month. So imagine working in such an environment structured for 10 years, and then leaving to somewhere that you didn't even know. Now you are in charge of your earnings, and you don't know when the next money will come in. So there was a lot of fear. And then back then in the company then, when you get sick, all you needed to just take yourself to the hospital there, and the company will take over and do everything. So imagine living such a sheltered life to go and start living where you are now the ideator, you are the creator, and you are the salesman, all in one. So there was a lot of fear in my body at the time. So the first thing I did was to deal with fear. And there are different ways to deal with fear. Some people pray, some people use affirmations, some people use what we call overriding. So part of my majority of what I did was to override my current reality, as at the time. Part of it at the time was certain events that happened in my life. One of them was when I went to Lagos, and at that time there was fuel scarcity in Nigeria at the time. So I was going to Lagos. I was in Lagos and I was going to ShopRite in Ikeja. And there was this girl in a very smooth, sleek car. And the car was just, a car that was so sweet. So it looked like I said the car was not on. Car is moving, but there was no sound. And I saw the young girl at the back, seated so nicely. And, I'm like, this girl is she really feeling the pinch of what is going on in Nigeria? And then a word came to me that even in the midst of this pain, people are living in different realities. What will be your reality? So that thing got to me. I'm like, yeah, it's feasible that I can. And then part of how I was also overcoming fear was to do. So what do I mean by to do? The second point is understand the place or the industry that you want to go into to start building your business or building whatever it is you're building. So for me, I knew where I wanted to be in this knowledge industry. I wanted to be a thought leader. So what I did was to go and search out people who are doing well on this path. So I went to Philadelphia, I went to Steve Harris, I went to Bankole Williams, I went to Tyler Ilori in Lagos. I took out 1 month and I went to them. In fact, I stepped in Bankole Williams' house for 1 month, for 1 week. I went to see Fela. I mean, I saw all these guys and I was asking them questions about how I could be profitable on the path. So all of them were giving me different, based on their own experiences. And I was accumulating their own personal experiences to guide me on my own path. So that was part of how I was overcoming my fear, to say to myself, if these guys were doing great on this journey, it means that I have also the possibility to do great on the journey. Okay. And so the next thing was to speak to your spouse or whoever is your partner, because they also have a role to play. If you are on the dosage of hope and faith, and your spouse is on the dosage of hopelessness and not seeing where you're going, their words, their attitude somehow will affect the faith that you have in yourself and your journey. All right. So I come from a family of civil servants that don't believe in ruffling the waters. You know, civil servants go to work, come back, salary, and then pension and all this kind of thing. So don't just ruffle it, just live your life, you know. And so you saying that you wanted to leave paid employment to come and start running a business, didn't go down well with my mom. But my mom wasn't my main issue. My main issue at the time was my wife. So I needed my wife to buy into my future at the time and be at peace with it to allow me to push on. And so what did I do? It was to prove to her that this thing could work. So one of the days I got a speaking engagement and I went to speak, and I was paid. That was the first time I was paid 50,000 naira for 45 minutes. So I came back home, shared the money into 25K, brought it out like a bundle, and I literally stoned her. I didn't stone her, so I just placed it on her lap like that and said, take and enjoy, you know. And when she now saw the money, she was like, man, this is the work. She spoke it in Igbo language, you know, saying, you know. And that was how she just said it. You know what I mean? And that was how faith, you know, started building up. And eventually, so all the things one of the things that they told me was, Emeka, you have to be visible. So they said to me, you have to be visible. If you are going to be doing good in this knowledge industry, people must know you. So back then, I took a decision that I was going to visit 6 states. Back then, many years ago, 2011, 2012, 13, can't remember exactly the year, but so I was visiting different states. I used my salary. I'll travel on a Friday to every last Fridays of the month. We are always free days for us back then. So I'll travel on a Friday to as far back as Abuja. I'll do an event there. And my events were not large events. So sometimes I could just meet people in an eatery. I have gathered like 20, 30 people together and speak to them, let them know who Emeka Lobez is. Sometimes I remember I did one in the pastor's back office, you know, where he meets his pastor. So there were like 20-something individuals, you know, who were there. I was connected to that church. And today I don't even know who that pastor is. He just loved what I wanted to do. You know, that's how things happen. When you decide that you want to move on a path, you know, certain things will just begin to adjust to support your journey. And so a friend of mine connected me to that pastor, and he allowed me to use his back office. I got 25 persons into his back office, and, you know, it was fun. So some places I went, people donated offices to me, offices I could take like 50, you know, just like that. So I kept on going. I remember the one I did in Enugu was in a bookshop, you know, so they cleared part of the books, they moved the shelves, you know, and then we had about 30-something individuals in there. So I was exposing myself, let people know where Emeka Lobez is, you know, just like that. Because as I was building that audience, that was the audience that would come to give me money when I asked for it, in terms of pitching my products and all that. So that was one of the things that the forerunners told me at the time, and which I did. Another thing was also always think about the money. All right. So in giving value, always also think about the money. So it's not just about giving value. Give and take, give and take, give and take, give and take. So that's my cycle on social media and the things that I do. I'm giving and taking, I'm giving and taking. So then I give you. Some days I wake up, it's taking and taking and taking. Again. So the money
Hello. I think network is like really bad.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
We
you
can
now.
hear you now.
Okay, sorry. Somebody was trying to text me.
Okay.
Sorry. Let me just quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so first and foremost is I appreciate the fact that you're about to go on a journey and it will come with fears. Appreciate the fear and find your way of dealing with the fear. The way I dealt with my fears may not be the same way you dealt with you deal with yours. And then study the industry that you're going into. The knowledge industry is different from when you're going into the oil industry. It's different from when you're going into fashion. It's different from when you're going into, name it, bread industry, whichever, food, beverages, restaurants. They're different. So you've got to understand absolutely what happens in the industry that you're going in. The knowledge of that will arm you correctly to be able to delve into that space. And then have individuals that you can go to, to share with you thoughts and ideas on how they are doing their things. And then finally, the day that you will leave or the day that you take that decision, nobody will tell you actually. It's not your wife that will tell you, says today. Maybe it may happen that your wife will tell you or your spouse or your partner, but the decision is for you to take. I remember the day I took mine. I wasn't even supposed to take that decision that day, but I'd already printed my resignation letter and put it on my laptop. I just kept it there until the day that I'll print it and go and give it out. But that very day, I got to work and my boss gave me a job that I was rising from a very tedious one that I had already done, felt thinking that I was going to have some space to breathe. And then I got to work that same morning. And my boss gave me another job. I got back to my office, my table, and looked at the thing. I'm like, man, for me to even raise my head from this job will take me another 3 weeks. I just looked at my colleagues. I said, guys, hey, today is the day. So I just printed out. All of them were like, no, it's easy or easy, because that's what they call my son. Easy. I said, guys, I know feed beer. No, I can't. I cannot. So I printed it out and then I went to submit my letter. When I submitted it, I got back outside. I was like, God, are you sure you did the right thing? And when you submit your resignation letter, you have like 24 hours to retrieve it. If not, the moment they start processing it, no going back. So I was there, I was breathing, I was pacing up and down. I was like, God, should you take it back? My mind said, no, nothing that happened. No shaking, just stay. So no shakements. So I allowed it. By the next day, news started spreading. American Novice was resigning, and there was no going back anymore. And I've been on that journey since 2016 till now. So it's a journey of increment. Things keep happening for you. People keep coming into your life. As you keep doing and showcasing, you're attracting certain individuals to come into your life, and helpers of destiny, helpers, just like that. That's just the way it is.
Okay. Thank you so much. So I'm just curious. I really want to ask these questions. Now, we know that we've had like a lot of advice for business owners, right? Which one have you heard, and how would I put it now? Which one have you heard that made you really angry? Like, what advice have you heard that you were like, why now? How?
The one that really makes me angry right now is the one they teach you not to sleep.
Not to sleep.
Yeah.
Don't sleep.
They'll tell you sleep is for the dead people. While you're alive, keep working. That thing is a lie from the pit of hell. I'm sorry to say, but many pastors say it. The other day I was listening to Bishop Abioye. He was saying that work does not kill young people. If work kills young people, they would have been dead long ago. The thing is that people don't understand the implications of such statements. I mean, there's so many young individuals around town who don't sleep well. So many young individuals around town who have BP issues. So many young individuals who are suffering from different kind of ailment that they are not supposed to because of how they have punished their bodies. So anybody who is telling me not to sleep, or day or day, the work will be there. There's something about me. When I come to work and I write down all the things I have to do, and I start attacking them. By the time I'm done, maybe if I have 10 things in a day and I did just 2 or 3, by the end of the evening, I'll say to myself, Emeka, you don't try. This guy you do. This thing you do would have moved you some inches to success. You did well. The next day I come back and I continue from where I stopped. So, my dear, I advise you as you are on this entrepreneurial path, please, when it gets to night time, sleep. I'm not saying that when you have some tough projects to deliver, you can decide to maybe 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and then when you are done with that project, you maybe shut down for 2 or 3 days and better sleep. Those days can be there. But if you make it a regular habit, they tell you work for 18 hours. It's all right.
All right. So this is the last question from me. What's that thing that you would do if you had the chance to start your career again? What's that thing that you think you did not do that you would do better?
I would have taken paid marketing very serious. Now I see my guides, I see people paid marketing, advertisements. I should have grown beyond where I am now if I had taken paid marketing very serious. So I felt back then on Facebook, I wasn't seeing competitors. I wasn't seeing guys who are baba them as I was doing. I felt I would write a post, people would comment, share. I was done, great. But now I've seen individuals who came up 2-3 years ago, and with paid ads, they have gone. So now I'm not joking with it anymore. I bring up money, even if it's 10K, even if it's 20K, even if it's and just to make sure that my works are going out there. Tomorrow now, I'm trying to start out. I want to make some money in March, and I'm saying I want people to pay me what they want to attend my training. And so I'm going to start to have. I'm going to start running ads. So I'm putting out the content on the page tomorrow, and then I will send money to my ads guy to start the campaign. So that's what I will have. That's what I would love to do differently if I'm starting all over again.
All right. Thank you so much. I had a wonderful time talking to you. Do you have other questions?
Not really. No, I think that's all for us. It's been nice having you here.
Are you in Port Harcourt?
I was, but not currently. I'm currently in Lagos.
Oh, you guys are in Lagos?
Yes.
Oh wow! I thought you were in Lagos. I thought you were in Port Harcourt.
No. UncutXtra. We are currently based in UK and in Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah. So hopefully with time we'll definitely expand to
other
places. But it's been wonderful. Yeah, it's been wonderful having you here. Sorry about that. Yeah, so it's been nice. Thank you so much. I'm sure people learned a lot. Personally, I learned a lot. I've been, taking that some point.
Right.
So it's been really wonderful having you here. Thank you so much. The UncutXtra team appreciates you for your time, your everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
I don't know.